Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome, glad to have you here. Oh look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Man, we have a great crew already here this morning. James Bacon, good morning, James. Zero the Blade is here. Chase Street. Tomocrat is here, as well as Mike Hansford, one of the channel members. Good morning, Sable Phoenix. Stray is here. Wonderful. Good to see you, Stray. Welcome. Jonathan is here. We accept you, Sable Phoenix. We accept you. And Thor is here. What a great crew. All right. Yes. Tomocrat was saying that last night was great. Oh, Zero Theory is also here. Here is Zero Theory. Tomocrat was saying that last night was great. It was. I like talking about the original Star Trek movies. They're some of my favorites. They were a major part of growing up. And it's great when you find somebody who would like to talk about them with you. So that's going to be a great series. So that's going to be like a six episode series on all the different movies. So if you don't know what happened last night, if you look back on the live channel, a live section of this channel last night for Table Talk, Doug and I talked about Star Trek 1, the motion picture. We went into Star Trek 1, which I think is very much underrated. It's not very much underrated in general. It's a different style of film, but we went into that in great detail. So if you are a Trekkie and you appreciate story and film and stuff like that, especially if you're both, definitely go back and watch last night's table talk on Star Trek 1. That was fantastic. Okay, so what have we got going around here? I got to get myself into gear over here. I will put out, if you are here, we're going to have the Ravenkeep Discord server. Let me put that out. So if you're not part of that, would love to have you there. And also, please do like and subscribe to this stream. I sometimes forget to say that. So if you're here, if the Ravenkeep Discord server is here, please like and subscribe to that. And then also, I guess I should bring this up. I went over the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter page a little bit yesterday. But I had an extended discussion with Brianna yesterday, and then I prepared for the discussion with Doug. Brianna and I talked about quite a bit of things. She had another film, another horror film that she was outlining, and it was great. So we talked about her horror film. I'm jealous. I've got to do so much more film writing. But we've got this afternoon. I have got to get the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter. Make sure that's completely right, because I don't want to be trying to finish the technical part of the pages. So Goodnight Sword. Oh man, I'm clicking all the wrong things. The Goodnight Sword Kickstarter. I'm really hoping this is going to get us underway over here, making stuff, because that's what we're supposed to be, making things about what we want to exist in the world. So Goodnight Sword, that is my children's book. Ta-da! Here it is. That's coming out. So Goodnight Sword is there. If you would like to get Goodnight Sword, please click that link and then go over and click the notify me. That would be huge. That way you'll know when Goodnight Sword is going live. It's going to be a drama-free Kickstarter. We're going to do a quick drama-free Kickstarter to get Goodnight Sword, which is obviously my medieval fantasy takeoff on Goodnight Moon. For anybody who would like to get children involved in that, we're going to start that next week. That means I got to polish that up. Excuse me, my priority for today is to polish that off, and then I'm going to get that started over on the Tales of Rabavania, or get talking about it over on the Tales of Rabavania Instagram channel. I think I'm going to try to tell people about it on Instagram for about a week, and then we will launch. So that is what's going on over here. Today, I thought that we would talk about GURPS Realm Management, which admittedly does sound like a joke, and I thought it was a joke when I first heard the name of it. But no, GURPS Realm Management, that is an actual book that is written by Christopher R. Rice, because it just sounds like something in the GURPS line that would be a joke. But it's not. It's the domain level play for GURPS. And so we are going to take a look at that. There's a lot in it, and I don't think that we actually need to do such an extensive look at it as we did with Mass Combat. It was designed to work with Mass Combat. So if you're looking for domain level play, we are looking... you want Mass Combat and you want Realm Management. Let's see, what else is there to say? Oh, so I've got my big list. We're still very RPG heavy, which is fine here. I've got my big list of different RPGs and to continue to look at here on the Morning Grind, which as soon as I take one off, it seems like another one pops up. I do want to look at old school essentials. I was thinking just the other day, or yesterday mainly, with the popularity of the OSE, because with the popularity of the OSR, maybe we should take a look at some more of those, because obviously Knave is going very well. Shadow Dark went very well. I was trying to figure out what then is the best old school RPG. We could probably take a look at a couple of them. We have looked at Basic Fantasy on the Morning Grind before, and I was a bit underwhelmed with Basic Fantasy. I know a lot of people like it, but I was a bit underwhelmed. What I wanted to do, I like Dungeon Crawl Classics. Dungeon Crawl Classics we also looked at on the Morning Grind, I think on a few episodes. So Dungeon Crawl Classics is there. But as far as something to build a basic set to build something else out, I want to look at Old School Essentials. So I put Old School Essentials also on this list over here. We may look at that pretty soon. So we've been looking at GURPS. I mean, we're looking at this because we were looking at some old school stuff. So we may look at Old School Essentials pretty soon. I was looking at the system that we were building here earlier on the Morning Grind, which is Oh, really? Sable Phoenix says, I left a note in the Discord server about Vagabond by Indestructiboy 2. Ah, he's got a Kickstarter for the development process going on right now. Oh, he's on a Kickstarter right now? I have not. I need to get back into the. I'm back on Discord. I wasn't there. I hadn't seen that note yet. So Vagabond RPG. Hang on. Let me bring this up in another window. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, the Vagabond. Oh, it is. It is. Okay. Well, we should look at that. And I see. I need. I'll put that on this list over here too. So I didn't know about this. Vagabond TTRPG. They put that over here. Hey, can we play this? Let's find out about this. So this is by Indestructiboy.
The Kickstarter for Vagabond, my TTRPG system core, is now live. So this is the first of two Kickstarters I will be doing for the game. This first one is a development Kickstarter that helps make sure that I can keep the lights on around here and make developing Vagabond my full-time job. All backers at $30 and above will get the in-development PDF that gets...
Okay, I'll watch that later. But so Vagabond, lean and mean tabletop RPG, laser focused on practical play, drawing inspiration from medieval romance dungeons. Is this an old school thing? Vagabond is a hybrid tabletop role-playing game that blends old school utility with modern tabletop RPG design. Oh, character expression and sensibilities. Okay, I need to... I'll click remind me at the moment. Okay, thank you. We'll check that out. Maybe he would like to talk on. Maybe we could bring him on to the table talk. We've been doing stories on Tuesdays, so I was thinking maybe just Tuesday on Table Talk should be our story day, and then I would like to be. The problem is reaching out. I have various degrees of luck reaching out to people for in the RPG section, but I might as well reach out to him. I did reach out to Ben, who does Knave. I did reach out to Ben and ask him if he would like to be on the show and talk about Knave, but he said he wasn't going to be able to do it, which actually doesn't surprise me because you've got tons and tons of stuff going on with the Kickstarter right now. So I did reach out to him, but I could reach out to Indestructiboy. Do you think that's something I should do? All right, I'll look at that, and we'll see what he's doing. Let's see. Jonathan says, I think Boardroom and Curia is also needed for top-level play for things like thieves, guilds, and the like, or for folks who want to run organizations but not domains. Yes. Now, see, that one I know is a book. Isn't that what James said? I knew about that one. I did not know about Realm Management. But yeah, it looks like all three of those books sort of run together. Okay. Which one are you talking about, James? Boardroom and Cura. That's probably GURPS does. Mostly these are all PDFs now. So it's probably from Warehouse 23 if you're talking about the GURPS stuff. All right. Oh, so the reason I was also thinking about the old school is like, what do I need to look at here? Because with Faded Edge, I do want to look at, I was looking at that situation because I really want to develop my own system, and that's the system that I wanted to develop. But I got to figure out what the first priority for all of my creative stuff right now has got to be a Good Night Sword and getting it going. But then what are we going to do after a Good Night Sword? I could do a system, or I could do some of the world stuff because I was working on that Tales of Rabavania world book, which is almost finished, the world primer. But I was trying to decide what rules to put in it because the Faded Edge rules are not there, but are not ready yet. And they're going to take a little bit more, or they're going to take significantly more effort. And I want to examine Amber, the diceless role-playing game, before I get back to designing it, because I even though I want Faded Edge to have less randomness, but I want to take a look at a game that has no randomness. But I was also thinking, as popular as the old school stuff right now is, putting old school rules into the Tales of Rabavania would be neat, or also Theophany. I was thinking that, you know what? the themes of heaven and hell and theophany and the world of theophany. If I do a world primer on that, maybe using something like old school essentials, that might be really cool. So using an old school system to do heaven and hell, that might be neat. So I wanted to write the world primer on that next. But what rules? Maybe old school rules. That would be pretty neat. So I thought, okay, let's take a look at old school essentials. So that's also coming up. Okay. Let's see. Oh, hey, Cat Monroe. Good morning. You offered to pay D&D creators $1,000 to do a private review of content before I published it. None responded. You try to get Matt? Huh. Okay. All right. Let's go over here. Yeah, and I don't... Does GURPS publish on drive-through? I guess they do. Oh, let me take this down. All right. Let's get going here. So that's my thinking about where we're going. What I'm trying to get... where we're going from here. So, share screen... Realm Management. Like I said, there's a lot here, and I don't really know how many days this justifies. But I think we should take a look at how it's doing it. All right, so I've got my drink here. Everybody got your drink with you this morning? Before we get into this, let's breathe and sip. So let's take a deep breath, 2 deep breaths, complete exhales, and then take a sip of your favorite beverage. So here we go. And sip. All right. Let's see what is in this. Sable Phoenix says, I'd be interested in the Amber Diceless. I've never played it, and as far as I understand, it's not very well regarded in the Titter Pig community. Jonathan says, I ran Amber Diceless. Very good system. The chapter on combat is really quite amazing. Well, all right. So that's coming up soon, too. So we'll do that one soon. Might have to... Oh, speaking of which, I do want to look at basic fantasy. We've got 13th Age on this. I know that Sable Phoenix talks about that. Yeah, okay. 13th Age is here. Basic Fantasy by Chaosium is on the list. They did send that to me by PDF. So we're going to take a look at Basic Fantasy. And actually, this just showed up in the mail. Does anybody... Let me take this down. This just showed up in the mail. Yeah, I know that we ought to call it the Titter Pig. This just showed up in the mail as well. Does anybody know anything about this? When I reached out to Chaosium to see if they would be willing to send me a review copy of the Basic Fantasy RPG, they did send me a PDF, but then they also a PDF of that. But then they also sent me this hard copy, Rivers of London, and I don't know anything about it. What it's based on some type of book, never heard of it, Sable Phoenix says. So I think it's based on some kind of book series or something. It says based on the novels by Ben Arondvich. So I don't know. I got it. So we will check that out. Oh, Jonathan has been looking at Rivers of London. So I put that on the list too, because they sent it over. So we will see. Okay. Anyway, so that's what's going on over here. All right. Realm Management. So, my own kingdom by my own hands. We've got building a realm, the wheel. And the wheel, that's basically your system for playing. The wheel and GURPS Boardroom and Curia. So, yeah, there's integrated. It is integrated with that one for organizations. And also GURPS Mass Combat here. And one of the reasons I was thinking about the domain level stuff when we were talking about integrating games that go through all different levels of stuff, all different scales. To me, it's difficult to play RPGs asynchronously. I've seen it done. I don't think it's gone terribly well. I'm sure there's some people who have gone terribly well, but if we're talking about, hey, we've got to do this asynchronous thing where, okay, I attack the orc. Okay, I attack that orc. Okay, I go walk over here. It goes too slow, I think. But I did have that experience where I was doing free form, basically realm management with my uncle briefly, and I wish it had been able to go further, but it couldn't for other reasons. But it was really neat because we played by mail. And so we would send in our orders about what our troops were going to do or what our kingdom was going to do. And then he would send back by mail, like updated maps and things like that. So I don't know what type of like rule system he was using. I don't really think he was using a rule system. It was just completely free form. But it seems like a domain level game like that, that's something that you could do asynchronously and say that, even if you played, okay, you could even say that, well, if you don't report, then we're going to just take your kingdom has some kind of default conservative action that it takes. And then time goes on, because you could say that like 1 week is going to be 1 month. So everybody needs to at least put in one command a week, and then you receive information back every week. Or you could do it like every 2 or 3 days or something like that. Maybe every 2 or 3 days is a month or something like that. That seems kind of neat, but I don't have a practical way to do that. Chase says that PCs are members on the London Police Department, where you're on the magic section. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I want to know about that too, because I like percentile-based systems, and there was a lot that I liked about the Call of Cthulhu system, but I haven't really gotten into it. And I'm wondering how they extracted it for a general RPG. Just read a synopsis of The Rivers of London. Seems great for a Titterpig session. I'm interested. Just bought the 6-set book of novels. Oh, that was fast. Okay, so let's see here. You have to let me know how they are. Okay, so this says GURPS already has rules for describing cities as adventuring locations. GURPS City Stats. That's what I knew about. And organizations and how they relate to adventures. GURPS Boardroom and Curia. But what about ruling a kingdom? Given the game's propensity for realism, gameability, and adaptability, that shouldn't be too hard. With the right rules, GURPS Realm Management provides such a system with mechanics for running realms, tables for disruptions and windfalls, new uses for skills, and much more. It should be noted this supplement estimates the statistics of certain modern-day polities to the best of the author's ability as a way to help readers visualize fictions or historical games. No offense is meant in pursuit of this goal. So this system in GURPS Realm Management is the first of its kind, though it borrows heavily from concepts found in GURPS Boardroom and Curia, GURPS City Stats, and GURPS Space. GURPS Mass Combat is required to run large-scale battles, and this supplement references it frequently. And like one day, we're going to get into GURPS Space heavy. Okay, so most GURPS campaigns avoid putting PCs in charge of kingdoms, nations, or empires, or limit such lofty and bureaucratic heights to retired adventurers. But this presents them with new challenges as rulers, or even to start campaigns based on high-stakes political negotiations or outright conquests. It says it's not a bean counting system, but it emulates running a kingdom in much the same way that GURPS Mass Combat simulates running a battle, or GURPS Boardroom and Curia describes an organization. It does this by creating a realm to be managed. Optionally, for an increase in realm value, the creator can purchase realm enhancements. These qualities should reflect the realm's geography or climate in some way. It doesn't require a map, but it's useful to at least sketch out the local area of its borders and neighboring realms. Realms may also have realm limitations that hamper them in some way. Realm enhancements and realm limitations are usually referred to as enhancement or limitations in this work, save for the full, save for where the full terms make matters clearer. So that sounds like advantages and disadvantages, and also modifiers, like you have in character creation. You're seeing what's going on in the comments. Okay, so designing a realm. Now, being GURPS, we should be able to do anything with this. So we go all the way up from all the inhabited, or all the way down from all the inhabited solar systems in a galaxy. Like if you were commanding the Milky Way galaxy, all the way down to Monaco, Vatican City, or a medieval knight's fief. So we've got all of that right here. So a realm is the entire area that a particular group or group rules. A small city-state that includes actual township and its surrounding lands in a realm is an entire nation or even an empire. The realm size, it's realm size value. So we've got realm size value right here. Determined roughly by how much area the realm occupies by square miles. Start with a typical realm size value listed for the closest thing you've got and then adjust it. So all of the inhabited solar systems in a galaxy, such as the galaxy, would be a plus 36 realm size modifier. And note number 1 says a realm size value for the whole galaxy or the whole of inhabited space depends on the number of inhabited planets and their total effective land, and could be much larger than the table suggests. The same applies to a large interstellar state that isn't the whole of inhabited space. So 100 planets would be an interplanetary state plus 30, and that would be like the United Federation of Planets. Whereas if you are just one planet, like Earth, you might have a realm size of 24. So Earth, Mars might be plus 24. The Moon would be plus 22. Krypton would be plus 23 as examples. So it says the Earth's total area is about 200 million square miles, but only the land is densely habitable for humans. Large nation such as Russia, United States, Ghana. The typical width diameter for a circular realm, 800 miles for a large nation, 80 miles for a small nation, 8 miles for a city-state, or 0.08 for villages and its surroundings. So duchy, county, small nation, plus 12. Luxembourg. I need to travel some more. I've been to Luxembourg. I really enjoyed it. Seeing the fortifications at Luxembourg. I never made it to Liechtenstein. I need to go to Liechtenstein. That would be plus 6. I have also been to the Vatican. Enjoyed that. Tomocrat says, okay, trying to see if the basic fantasy could be played at like 5e super powerful PCs. I don't know. I wasn't. I remember we went over basic fantasy on the morning grind. I wasn't terribly impressed. Something tells me I'm going to like old school essentials better, especially now that I have the context of having been through the rules cyclopedia. Okay, so what's next? The table divides realms into types broadly corresponding to the area classes for the area knowledge skill. So the area knowledge skill, although the names are modified in some cases, increase or decrease the typical realm size value for comparatively large or small realms. For instance, a large nation has a realm size value of plus 18, but the United States has a plus 3 for 21, while Ghana has a negative 2 for plus 16. Usually the upper and lower limits for the area of a given area knowledge class are 10 times larger or smaller than the typical size, but exceptions can be made for realms of basically different types. Russia is treated as a large nation, not a small planet, even though its area is about, okay, it's not treated as a small, for about 6.6 million square miles. An interplanetary state occupying an entire spiral arm of the galaxy might include millions of planets, giving realm size value plus 42, by continuing the progression of the table, but it wouldn't be defined as a galaxy unless it were the whole of inhabited planets in the space. Okay, so once we have that, and we do have an example here, building the Necro Kingdom of Zarthus. Each realm has resource points. Tomocrat says OSE is a great boiled down system of the BECMI system. See, because there's the argument to just go play that, right? Because it's available now. I mean, I even got the hardback copy of the Rules Cyclopedia, so you could just play that. But on the other hand, it could stand some updating and cleaning up. So maybe that's what they've done. So resource points represent the realm's combined manpower, assets, tangible or otherwise, and general power. The more RP it has, the bigger an impact it can make on the people and the world around it. Resource points are allocated using a turn, a round of action using the wheel. Once spent, RP are gone and may be reacquired using one of the methods in Chapter 2. A realm that overreaches itself to accomplish something, expending all of its RP on a maneuver, risks dissolution if it fails, as it has nothing left for internal stability. Realms can purchase any number of starting resource points at realm creation, but after play begins, RP must be purchased, traded for, or earned, etc. The GM decides how many RP a realm starts with, and in this case, size doesn't matter. A realm's RP increases its final value, so don't go crazy. Resource points are purchased separately from anything else like military resources. Each resource point costs 0.5% of the realm's base value, which is going to be calculated on page 29 to 30, before including any modifiers. For example, if a realm's base value were 12 million, each starting resource would cost $60,000. GURPS uses all dollars, so you can translate that in your game to whatever type of currency you actually use. But GURPS across all of its books uses just this dollar as a general currency to base everything off of. So resource points are then distributed according to 4 fields: agricultural points, luxury and precious good points, natural resource points, and workforce points. Each area can be positive. The realm has extra to trade or use elsewhere. Negative, the realm must acquire more. Or 0, the realm is just meeting its needs. So for example, agriculture points 3, luxury precious goods -1, natural resource points 2, and workforce points 2 would mean the realm has abundant resources but few luxury exports. A negative value in any category is bad, in italics. On any turn on which your realm has 1 or more negative RP values, roll your realm management skill. So we have a new skill here, page 23. At -1 per 2 points, you're negative. Round in the positive direction. Failure means the realm loses another RP per 3 points of margin of failure. Success means the realm is stable for now. Critical success restores an RP to the lowest value. Critical failure subtracts any additional RP from the highest value. Stay too long at negative and you risk the people rising up or the realm dissolving. Realms are considered to be feeding themselves unless famine or drought breaks out. That's nice. There's no need to assign agricultural points or natural resource points to feed the realm's inhabitants. So this is over and above what you've got to just keep yourself stable. A realm's resource points suggest its current priorities. In most cases, a value of 0 means the realm is scraping by in that respect. Not enough excess is being generated to export or progress significantly, but it's holding steady. Rogue Thinker says, go figure, a GURPS mechanic with point values. Of course. I played GURPS since first edition box set, Chase says. I mentioned this as I love this game. My problem with the books based on 4E GURPS is they mostly read like stereo instructions. Really, they used to be much friendlier and fun to read, really. I had 3rd edition GURPS. I played 3rd edition. 4th edition has been out for a long time. Rogue Thinker says, how many times have you broken into the wealthy merchant's bedroom? Okay, example of the realm creation. So here to illustrate realm creation is the Necro Kingdom of Zarthus, a dire place full of necromancers, undead, and rocks. For the full write-up, see page 46. Having existed for the better part of 2,000 years, Zarthus is ruled by the Fell King and his nightmare court of feudal necromancer aristocrats. Its natural terrain and intimidating environment, the sun almost never shines thanks to a spell gone wrong centuries before, makes it incredibly difficult to attack by outside forces, and for farmers to grow crops. Most food and goods are imported, as Zarthus seems to have an unlimited supply of black gold, dark-colored gold, in its mountain mines. Since the last crusade against it hundreds of years ago, Zarthus has slowly become more focused on its people. The current Fell King has decreed public education for all mages and non-mages alike, and has increased the warding around settlements to keep feral undead at bay. The GM decides that Zarthus is a large nation, Typical area for such a realm is 500,000 square miles, but the GM prefers about 1/3 of that and settles on 1,600 square miles, reducing the realm's size value from +18 to +16. This will be used in calculations later on. The GM also decides on 25 starting resource points, cost to be calculated later. The GM splits those up as 9 agricultural points, 3 luxury precious good points, 3 natural resource points, and 10 workforce points. This is only for the first turn, of course, but this gives Zarthus an edge to start. I don't know Nex. I saw one YouTuber comparing GURPS to Nex. I don't know that one. Very detailed, so you can build anything. But you can also, you don't have to go full detail with GURPS. You can always pare it back. Chase says, yeah, you can literally play any type of game with GURPS. I think this does lend itself better to sci-fi, Wild West, and horror-based games, though. Really, you think so? Oh, we still haven't really looked at Dungeon. I ought to put Dungeon, my never-ending list of RPG stuff to look at. We haven't specifically looked at Dungeon Fantasy. So you bring that up. We should look exactly, if you want to pair GURPS to do, well, actually, we should probably look at that soon. Since we're kind of on an OSR or topics that have been generated because of OSR types of games recently, GURPS Dungeon Fantasy is kind of generated for that reason. Now, it's not exactly OSR. It's GURPS. Oh, it's not OSR. It's GURPS. But in the sense that it's a dungeon crawling fantasy game, is GURPS answer to that? We should probably look at Dungeon Fantasy for GURPS relatively soon, just to see how it does it. They've generated a lot of material for GURPS Dungeon Fantasy. So the priorities for the realm tend to be producing food and defending the realm. An army marches on its stomach, so whether it's invading or defending, starving soldiers don't make good guards. Conversely, an unguarded food supply is at risk of being taken away. So important agricultural points, important to have when starting out, as they can be used to stave off famine or be traded away. A good bargain. Luxury precious goods, most new realms don't need to worry about these resource points when starting out. They may become important later on. Military resources. It's an important expense to keep in mind when considering the number of resource points to start with and how to distribute them. A realm without enemies might not need a large military. This could describe colonies on newly discovered planets, hard to access mountain valleys, islands, magically protected locations, or alternate dimensions where the gates are theoretically closed behind the settlers. There may be an internal policing force that can be repurposed as a defensive army or act to protect individual towns, but a hostile nation would view such a realm as ripe for plunder. You're not naturally protected from your neighbor's ambitions. It's advisable, if you're not naturally protected against your neighbor's ambitions, it's advisable to purchase a few military elements for protection and to act as peace officers. See page 30. Natural resource points. A realm with no natural resources to exploit is in trouble, but not terribly so. Out of all the allocation priorities for resource points, this one is second to last, with luxury precious goods coming in last. New resources can be found and exploited as long as food and labor holds out. Starting revenue. See page 31 for more information on how to derive this value. More wealth can be purchased via realm enhancements. This could be in addition to or instead of buying more resource points. A starting revenue lets you buy mercenaries to defend against neighbors who covet natural resources acquired by resource points. For that matter, you could hire armies to go out and covet somebody else's stuff. Workforce points. Every realm needs workers to bring in crops, mine, mineral resources, ore, etc. It's suggested that all realms start with at least one workforce point, as many of the maneuvers in Chapter 2 rely on them to do things. So when you're actually playing as the realm, you're going to be using these workforce points to allow you to take, it's calling a maneuver, but it was basically like an action. Okay, so we've got more information here on agricultural points. Examples of agricultural stuff. Workforce points over here. A realm's workforce is the means by which it produces finished products, protects itself, builds itself, and runs itself. Workforce points represent what the realm can bring to bear on projects not related to keeping its essential functions running. So we do have, it says that realistically a realm would have multiple types of manpower, but this would be tricky to keep track of. For an optional rule that lets you split the value, see page 7. So I did see that up here. Optional force, splitting workforce points. Workforce points could be divided into mental labor and physical labor if you wanted to. And if you wanted to split agricultural points into animal husbandry points and farming points, well, GURPS lets you do that as well. Let's see. Mercenaries are a special case. The GM may want to keep careful track of which realm mercenary units come from, because if the foreign realm they serve is decisively defeated, unable to pay, or dissolved, these troops may return home. And unpaid mercenaries aren't great for stability. Non-human labor and exotic resources. Oh, next is advanced Legos. Okay. I got you. Do I have GURPS Supers over here? No, I have GURPS Powers. Chase says, to be fair, though, I'd been playing basic D&D and AD&D for like 4 years before GURPS came out, so fantasy being D&D was already ingrained in me. I don't think GURPS had a fair shot. Well, I can understand that. As long as you're good with figuring out point totals, it really does a good job with supers. Maybe supers is one I need to get. I've got a soft copy of GURPS Space over there, but I really want to get a hard copy. They don't really make the hard copies anymore. Let's see. Non-human labor and exotic resources. Historical and modern realms can use the realm creation rules as is. But what's the fun in excluding 1,000 floating island kingdoms linked by airships and their harpy crews? Why would GMs want to forbid generation ships turn stations squabbling with each other over resources of solar realms? And then there's the option of undersea realms, peopled by merfolk and etc. So an exotic workforce. Fantasy or science fiction realms might have access to tireless non-humans as part of their labor force. Zombies, robots, AIs, steampunk automatons, and other beings that can work longer and harder than humans, that aren't subject to all the hazards that threaten humans. Why send a valuable life into hazards of an asteroid belt when you can send a robot? The GM can represent this with a large workforce point value. Or alternatively, build an extra exotic workforce points value if both traditional and extraordinary work points are available. Okay, natural resource points. It's good to have natural resource points of 1+ in order to cover your own needs and have some to trade. A value of -5 or worse means the realm has no readily available resources and will likely have to import a lot to have a significant infrastructure. So example, necessary natural resources. So let's see, example of realm creation. The fantasy world of Zarthus exists in a tech level 3 caret. That caret means super science. So when GURPS is working on the tech levels and giving our tech levels for all the different technology and things that you can have in the game, you've got tech levels that go up. But there are some things that don't fit exactly in a tech level because they're kind of magical, and that's called super science. So something like some Star Trek things would be super science. Is warp drive super science in GURPS? I can't remember. But certain things like, okay, warp drive, that's not exactly a technological advancement because it requires some type of extra breakthrough that could come earlier. But so if you've got some kind of like almost magical thing that's outside of your tech level or technology progressing, then you've got this caret right here, and that is super science. The fantasy world that Zarthus exists is a tech level 3 with super science. The super science being the various large-scale magics to which the mages have access. The GM decides that Zarthus has no tech level or related enhancements or limitations. The inhabitants of Zarthus, the intelligent ones anyway, are human. While numerous sapient undead also reside in the realm, they are more a natural hazard than subjects. The GM skips realm inhabitants' racial traits that would pertain to them. However, being steeped in necromancy for centuries has made the inhabitants mages, one and all, at least when it comes to the necromantic college of spells. This is a bought cultural trait. All citizens have magery level 0, one college only, necromancy. And that's a negative 40 limitation for 3 points. This will increase the realm value on page 29 and 30 at the end of realm creation. Next, the GM determines its population. Carrying capacity at tech level 3 is 40 people per square mile, but the GM decides they'll be taking 3 levels of lower carrying capacity, reducing effective tech level to 0, and thus carrying capacity to 12 people per square mile. As Zarthus has an area of 160,000 square miles, this puts the upper limit of its sustainable population at 12 times 1,600,000, which is 1,920,000 people. The GM decides to go with 1/10 of that number, 192,000, as benefits a less crowded realm with plenty of wastelands and roving undead. This will also make it easier to keep everyone in Zarthus fed during times of famine. Luxury and precious goods. Okay, the tech level for all realms starts at the campaign base tech level. It can be lowered as desired, see page 25. Raising a realm's tech level beyond the campaign's tech level requires strict GM permission. When the setting has realms of multiple tech levels, a lower tech level realm can use immigration, trade, spying, and other methods to raise its tech level in play by using the improve maneuver, page 34, to adjust its tech level trait. This is possible where the leadership is from higher tech levels. For requirements, see building up local technology on basic page 513. Tech level cannot be increased beyond the campaign's maximum in play without the GM's permission, and the GM decides how long this takes. It could require hundreds or even thousands of turns to go from the campaign's starting tech level to a higher tech level. The time required varies on the current tech level and tech level being sought. For instance, it took around 40 years for Earth to go from tech level 7 to tech level 8. That's 480 turns in realm management. The further back one goes, the more drastic time requirement becomes. The Bronze Age lasted approximately 2,300 years, or 27,600 turns in realm management. So, there you go. Cultural traits. So we just talked about that. For instance, a cultural trait is one that the realm is one that the people of a realm share, espouse, or embrace. This is what GURPS Fantasy calls an emblematic trait for monsters or creatures, and what Fantasy, page 213, calls an ethnic trait when describing people. When describing a realm, the GM can add one or more advantages, disadvantages, or meta traits that feel the realm's inhabitants inherently have, select for, or rigorously trained to acquire. These increase the cost of founding a realm, if positive, or lower it if negative. For example, in the elven realm of Sliglin, archery, sword fighting, and magic are all prized, and most Siglanti elves have at least a point in all 3 of these areas. Lacking one might give social stigma ignorant, while lacking 2 or more might result in social stigma disowned. I guess that could also be like in England, everybody practicing archery on Sundays. Realm inhabitant racial traits. By default, realms are occupied by 0-point humans or something similar. Races of higher or lower racial cost increase the realm value respectively. Each full 5 points of racial template costs changes the realm value by plus 1%. With no ceiling, a realm inhabited by 500-point demigods would double. The realm would be more productive, better defended, etc., because all of its citizens are more powerful than normal. Population. So this is where we saw population and carrying capacity. So tech level 0 through 6. Oh, no, 0 through 12. Maximum sustainable carrying capacity people per mile. For purely hunter-gatherer realms at tech level 0, divide by 10. So it'd be 1.2 people per mile. The average number of square miles in a realm that people can house. So tech level 3 was 40. Are we in tech level? I forget. Are we in tech level 8 now? Or did we just make it to tech level 9 as far as GURPS is concerned? I forget. Do I have high tech over there? Oh, I don't have high tech on my shelf. So, for example, Australia's land area is 3 million square miles. At tech level 8, maximum sustainable density is 280 people per square mile. Multiply these two numbers gives an upper limit of 840 million inhabitants. Supporting that many people will strain Australia's resources to the limit. With an actual population of 25.6 million, it can use its agricultural land far less intensively and still be a major food exporting nation. Next up, citizen loyalty. Citizen loyalty rates the general attitude of the realm's inhabitants toward the realm's leadership and or the realm as an institution. It uses steps from the reaction table, poor, neutral, good, etc. Each step has a range of numerical values associated with it. Record a single number within that range, which functions as a specific measurement of citizen loyalty for later reference. So we have disastrous loyalty. The realm is in the process of coming apart. Very bad. Citizens dislike the realm intensely. Most are actively seeking a way to get out. Bad. Citizens dislike the realm and are passionately seeking a way out or look out solely for their own interests. Poor. Citizens aren't particularly enthusiastic about the realm, but stay on out of inertia or simply lack of better opportunities. Neutral. Citizens like their realm in general, but in general feel no special attachment or patriotic pride. Examples: Canada, modern-day USA, or France. So that's our baseline. That's interesting. Good. Citizens are inclined toward the realm. They are happy and proud citizens and will make extra efforts to achieve the realm's goals if asked. Examples: 20th century Philippines, Germany during World War I. So poor was the USSR, especially in its later days. Bad. I didn't see examples. This is good. Let me go back up the top. So disastrous include examples: the Roman Empire during the crisis of the 3rd century, France during the French Revolution. So that's your stake there. Very bad include newly conquered nations or countries during wartime, Tsarist Russia around World War I. Bad would be the Deutsche Demokratische Republik, East Germany, prior to its 1990 collapse, Qin Dynasty of China, England, Scotland, and Ireland under Charles I. Good includes the 20th century Philippines, Germany during World War I. Very good. Citizens are very happy with the realm, making its success a high priority in their lives, and are entirely willing to undertake extended, extraordinary efforts on its behalf, such as 20th century Australia, Israel around 1950s, and contemporary Scotland. Excellent. Citizens are near fanatical in their devotion to the realm and its ideals. Indeed, many have the fanaticism disadvantage. Examples include Thomas More's Utopia and Plato's Ideal State. So, among other things, citizen loyalty gives the realm inhabitants a will modifier when resisting influence roles aimed at getting them to do something contrary to the realm's interests or laws. So here's our modifier here. As well, add half of the realm's control rating. We're going to get to that, rounded down. Citizens in highly controlled realms are likely to be more intimidated by law enforcement or literally too closely watched to get away with much. Finally, subtract half of the citizen's loyalty modifier from any roles when looking for black market items, officials who will accept bribes, and certain criminal activities. Citizen loyalty starts at neutral. Having higher or lower rating is an enhancement or limitation, respectively. Optionally, you can roll 3d6 to find baseline citizen loyalty. Infrastructure rating. Infrastructure rating gives you a modifier to management skill when it comes to moving troops, gathering information, or anything else the GM deems it would affect. So our realm has an infrastructure rating, which goes from IR 0, which is none. There's no infrastructure to speak of. And our examples there are Stone Age or Rural Apocalyptic Realm, a newly founded colony. IR 1 is very loose. Examples include, it's either very old or crumbling, not very well maintained, or extremely new. Examples include city-states and post-apocalyptic landscapes, a settlement or colony in the early ages of expanding its infrastructure. IR2 is loose. The realm's infrastructure is behind the times or built with archaic materials, but being properly maintained. Examples include a recently settled area, British colonies in the late 1910s. Average, up to date for the campaign's TL and properly maintained. Examples include 1970s United States or 20th century China. Advanced, infrastructure is modern, well-maintained, and occasionally includes cutting-edge technologies, like Roman aqueducts and sewer systems were considered astounding for their era. So as infrastructure modifier +1, 21st century Iceland, ancient Rome. Very advanced, the realm has invested heavily in infrastructure and has bleeding edge technology that borders on the next tech level. Tech level 9 society that has prioritized its infrastructure, many science fiction settings such as Beta Colony, that's in the Vordiskin Saga role-playing game, which I don't know anything about. I know that's a big one in the GURPS lineup, but I don't know anything about it. Tech level 6 is futuristic. The realm's infrastructure is a tech level higher than the campaign setting, such as the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Wakanda. And people are talking about supers a lot in the comments over here. I think this is interesting. James says, superhero games play like everyone is a different kind of... Speaking of Wakanda, superhero games play like everyone is a different kind of mage, with each character has an idiosyncratic magic system unique to them. There isn't really a good way to fence that in. Yeah, GURPS does that when you're talking about... you want superpowers, and it talks about your basic kind of 4-color comic book super kind of campaign and how to run that. That is kind of, everybody's got their own system they build up. Some people may have technology. Some people may have magic. Some people may have mutant powers, but yet they all interact. Like magic can parry the mutant powers. They all interact similarly, but they've all got different, custom builds. Power and privilege. So realms have control ratings. But they all, on other two scales, there is a conformity rating and an openness rating. These are about how the people of the realm treat. So control rating, that's about your government. Conformity rating and openness rating, this is about how the people of a realm treat, respectively, each other and outsiders, not how the government does. If the government treats different groups of citizens or folks from outside the realm differently, the realm has split citizen loyalty and or control rating. Conformity rating is a scale of how traditional and restrictive the realm's culture is and how well cultural differences between citizens or groups are tolerated, while openness rating is a measure of how receptive and welcoming the realm's inhabitants are to outside ideas, influences, and people. So our examples here are conformity rating 0, no conformity. The citizens of the realm and their government are completely out of touch with one another, and people identify more with their social group, class, clan, race, religion, species than with the realm. So examples: apartheid Africa, the rulers of a recently conquered land and its inhabitants, a realm with a sharp divide between nobility and peasantry. Conformity 1, some, is most early Latin American republics, the Second French Empire. Conformity 2, mild conformity, 20th century China, Cold War USSR. Conformity 3, moderate conformity. Examples include modern-day United States and the British Empire. Conformity 4, abundant conformity. The citizens of the realm share both a sense of identity and a vision for the future. So examples include the Star Trek's Federation or North Korea. Now, that's interesting. We're talking about utopias down here. So we have abundant conformity here, and that lists both Star Trek, Federation, and North Korea. Conformity 5, near total conformity. The citizens of the realm are in lockstep. Sense of duty to fellow citizens and to the realm are both common. This includes, I don't know how to say that, Tokugawa era shogunate, Nazi Germany, and Star Wars The First Order. Total conformity, the realm citizens and governments are effectively one. What the people want, the government wants, and vice versa. Propaganda roles in this realm against citizens succeed automatically. Examples, the inhabitants of are part of a hive mind or are programmed with loyalty. The citizens are biologically inclined to follow a single ruler, a la the Smurfs. So the Smurfs are an example of biologically inclined to follow a single ruler. Yeah, I know. You probably are going to have to get back to the spreadsheets to do this. Splitting realm ratings, openness rating. So we're going from xenophobic. Examples include 16th century Japan, North Sentinel Islanders. Very insular, People's Socialist Republic of Albania under Enver Hoxha, 1944 to 1985, North Korea. Moderately insular, Imperial China, East Germany. Neutral, Byzantine Empire during its collapse, modern Singapore, Victorian Britain. Mildly open, 1990s European Union. No, mildly open. Moderately open is 19th century Argentina. I don't know enough about that Argentina to be able to understand what that is. That example, extremely open, include an anarchy. Citizens of the realm treat outsiders with respect and are eager to meet them and hear their tales of their travel. Government types. Even the smallest realm requires some form of government to function. And we list typical values for control rating, conformity rating, and openness rating according to different types of government. So we have anarchy here, no official government. The will of the people is decided by the people, which usually means the strongest, loudest, and most ruthless of the people. Aristocracy. Examples include Japan's shogunate, optimates of Rome, Glenn Cook's Dread Empire. Athenian democracy. In an Athenian democracy, yeah, it is. GURPS Realm Management, teaching history through GURPS mechanics. But GURPS often does that. The GURPS books are all really well researched. Good morning, Jason. An Athenian democracy here. In an Athenian democracy, all eligible citizens vote on every action the realm takes and has a voice in the society as a whole. The definition of citizen can include or exclude any gender, ethnicity, or species, and eligibility might further require military service, higher education, or some similar criterion. A social stigma is appropriate for residents who are not citizens. In a fantasy setting where citizen means somebody with magical talent, this could lead to a thaumatocracy. In science fiction, eligible criteria could be psychology tests indicating an appropriate sense of duty, and wanting to rule might disqualify someone. So typical control ratings, so this is the city of Athens and its surrounding region, 508 to 322 BC. Typical control rating 2 to 4, conformity rating, openness rating, benefits, +2 on all roles that involve labor. Martial manpower and certain allocating resources. Drawbacks is a +1 to final time to reaction time modifier. James says, I love the real world examples. Makes it very easy to conceptualize. I agree. Athenian democracy is everyone standing in a big circle throwing rocks. Not even joking. Chase says, yeah, no one can ever say that GURPS books don't do their research on whatever topic they're covering. everyone had a black stone and a white stone, and they would throw. This is interesting. I remember reading about them voting on pieces of like shards or like shards of pot shards, basically, broken pieces of pots and stuff. But I don't remember if that was Athens specifically or if it was someplace else. But I remember them seeing ballots where they were voting like on a broken pot, sketching something into a broken pot. But Sable Phoenix says everyone had a black stone and a white stone and would throw one into the middle of the amphitheater, white for yes and black for no. Huh. Autocracy, dictatorship. I think the benefits and drawbacks are interesting. So, okay, example of realm creation continued. Zarthus starts out with a citizen loyalty of neutral, which all realms get for free. Infrastructure rating is 2, archaic, but magic holds it together. Starting conformity rating is 2. Most inhabitants are necromancers to one degree or another. The GM decides that Zarthusians are fairly insular and gives them an openness rating of 2. Later, the GM will decide that chauvinistic populace, page 26, is an appropriate realm limitation that will modify OR. That's the openness rating. The government of Zarthus taxes its people moderately, restricts some magic to the upper classes, and keeps necromantic magic out of the hands of the populace. The GM decides that the control rating 3 is appropriate. Zarthus is nominally a feudal kingdom. The Fell King rules by dint of his sheer necromantic might over the dead, but members of the Nightmare Court own their land and titles of the kingdom, giving them power beyond their magical abilities. The GM decides this is a variant government that mixes autocracy below with more specifically a thaumatocracy with feudal. After looking through the list of economies, only traditional fits the GM's conceptualization of how Zarathusian society functions. Clan, tribal, caste, governments, colonialism. We have optional rules for non-independent states. Tributary states, vassal states, protectorates, military colonies, brand new settlements, territory, colony but in name. Corporate state. So here, what does it say about feudal government? A feudal system is characterized by land ownership and dues paid to the head of the government, often an autocrat. The land itself is owned by the ruler who bestows it upon others as desired. Maybe you amuse them, or perhaps you've slain the dragon that's been eating their herds. Those who receive this boon become part of the nobility. Recipients can then parcel out their literal turf to vassals who promise their services to their lord. If there's enough land, these fief holders might grant land to their vassals, and so on until they get to the commoners, who must serve in order to have a place to live. In a low-tech society, the commoners are usually farmers. In a high-tech one, they might be receptionists, janitors, cafeteria workers, or members of similar low-level professions. The commoners might be serfs with few rights, perhaps not even the right to leave their assigned land, and many responsibilities, or they might be free to move between kingdoms if job conditions are too harsh. Either way, their labor funds those above them, who then pay a portion to those above them, and so on to the realm's rulers' coffers are enriched. So examples include the Holy Roman Empire, Japan during the samurai area, much of Western and Central Europe from 500 to 1300. So one of our benefits is increased military resources by 5% above normal. But our drawbacks are each turn roll 3D. On 6 or less, one or more of the lords have fallen into infighting, reducing the amount of available military resources by 30%. This lasts until a bluff, negotiate, or threaten maneuver is used to quell the rebellious lords. Fine. The Borg. For extreme conformity. Meritocracies. Technocracy. Theocracy. Oh, next we get into economy types. So economy types, capitalism, communism, post-scarcity utopia, traditional. Let's see what post-scarcity utopia is. In a post-scarcity or utopian economy, the basic needs of survival, food, shelter, medical care, are available to all citizens who do minimal labor, or possibly none at all. if magical servitor beings or robots are available. Many people still do enjoy do work they enjoy, but payment is less in cash and more in social regard or personal pleasure. Post-scarcity cultures might range from realms of extremely indolent citizens to highly militant civilizations whose well-trained tacticians run wars of conquest to support their luxurious ways of life. So examples include the Star Trek's Federation, mythological land ruled by Fae. Increased base status of all citizens by 1 and the citizen loyalty by 1 step. Drawbacks. Whenever a workforce point is gained, roll 3d6. On a roll of higher than 4+ conformity rating, that point is lost. I guess that's because people don't have the motivation, I guess, because you're losing workers in this, according to this, or potentially. Traditional economies rely on the realm's beliefs and customs to help shape the goods and services it provides, as well as the manner in which the goods and services are distributed. This often means there are things that will never be charged for, or which only ritual exchanges are permitted. Examples might include giving water to anyone you find in the desert, a meal that's shared among anyone who shows up with something to add it, even if it's just one root vegetable, the resources of ships in distress, etc., the rescue of ships in distress, etc. Pure traditional economies are incredibly rare in the modern world, but may suit campaigns with especially long-lived races or cultures steeped in following traditions to the letter. Examples include rural or farming communities of all types, Inuit communities, sea plantations in southern India. So benefits start with 1d additional workforce points. Make a management skill roll when an ecological or agricultural disruption occurs. Success negates it. But drawback is 50% of revenue is immediately converted to luxury precious good points instead. What are you thinking about this? Defense bonus and terrain. We all have an education rating as well. No education illiterate. All pre-literate historical societies, Mycenaean Greece, ancient Israel. ER1 is rare education, such as in Imperial Rome. ER2, medieval Europe. For the majority, education resembles ER1, around 90% illiteracy, addition and subtraction are common. Examples include medieval Europe, whose education systems is portrayed in locations Worming Hall. ER3 is uncommon education. 16th century Scotland, which raised taxes to fund education in every parish. This is very dense. Oh, does it include admiralties? I'm not sure. Do a lot of work up front, and then you can simulate everything you want. I think I would want to simplify this. I liked the mass combat system, I think, better. The GURPS mass combat. I think I was enjoying that book better than this one. I really wanted to enjoy this one, but I think what I would want to do, I think this book requires some modification to do what I'd want it to do. It's a lot to set up a realm. Universal education is like present-day Scotland. Near universal education is like present-day United States. So we do the management skills. This is what we're talking about. All realms start with a management skill of 12. This could be raised or lowered by 5% of the realm's value per +1 or minus of the skill level. Optionally, apply one of these modifiers. Completely reliable management, usually reliable management, unreliable management, very unreliable management. Habitability. A realm can, by definition, sustain a population of people, otherwise it's just land. But the realm's habitability rates a combination of its arable land, non-arable, but still useful land, such as pastures and living space. So we've got habitability ratings. They go from disastrous, like the Arctic, marginal space stations, or generational ships, the proverbial desert island. Very bad, Siberia. Bad, Tibet. Poor, northern Sweden. Neutral, most of Europe. Good, fertile river valleys like the Nile or the Indus. Very good, an ideal terraformed world. Or excellent, biblical Eden. Yeah, Sable Phoenix says, the mass combat, just from reading it, felt like it had a certain level of elegance. Yeah, I was feeling that too. And I'm not feeling that quite so much here. Well, no, I'm here. The power went down. No, this was not it. Hey, everybody who is still here. Sable Phoenix says, yeah, I did. This was actually not that. The whole power at the house went down like for 2 seconds and then all came back on. But of course, that's enough to completely knock out everything here. So yeah, it was just a power outage, like a 2-second power outage. So there we go. Yes, please do. So I'm going to keep going for just a few more minutes, but if you're still here for another about maybe 10 minutes or something like that. But yep, just a power outage. I used to have problems like that all the time when I just got started, like last summer. I felt like I was having problems all the time with either the internet failing or the power failing, like in the middle of a stream, which I have not had that problem in a long, long time. But yeah, that was a power flash that took everything out. Eventually, like if I keep doing this, I guess I need one of those batteries or something like that, because like a battery would have kept that from happening. Because I can't run the computer and stuff for long. I guess I would have to have 2 of them though, for this in here, and also like to keep the router running or something like that. But it would stop that problem. But right, yeah. That's a major. I feel like that's a major upgrade, though. I was afraid, though. After having the computer go down, I was like, "Oh my god!" But fortunately, it was just the power. Okay, so we were looking at what was this? Habitability. I was kind of going through here fast anyway. Reaction time modifier. Reaction time modifier is a broad indicator of how quickly a realm can respond to events. Now, see, this seems like a pretty interesting part of this, that it reflects how well organized the realm is, both in administrative processes and availability of physical resources, as well as the technological ease of communicating and coordinating activities. Think of it as a basic speed for realms. With these differences, lower is faster. -1 is better than +1. A slower realm acts first, and faster ones can interrupt those actions with their own, as explained in Chapter 2. Okay, so slower realms act first, but then faster ones interrupt those actions with their own, as explained in Chapter 2. So use the reaction time modifier to determine reaction time table to modifier. This normally applies to all responses. However, certain realms work particularly quickly or slowly when it comes to specialized tasks, so that the GM may specifically differentiate TRM in certain circumstances. So modifier, tech levels, and I suppose this also is like communication and stuff. So tech level 0 to 4 is +2. 5 to 6 is +1. And remember, +2 is bad, right? So tech level 7 to 8, our modifier is 0. Whereas once you start getting into tech level 9, 10, and above, you're able to move faster. But then also your realm's managerial skill, which we just looked at, can add or lower your reaction time. So realm modifiers, so realm traits enable you to customize your realm by adjusting its statistics and more. Realm enhancements are a great deal like advantages, but for the entire realm. They will increase realm value, but then on the other hand, limitations are like disadvantages, which decrease realm value. Oh, hey, Access Your Inner Light. Good to see you. Birthright is an interesting domain system. And of course, ACKS has rules for domain leadership built into the core rules. What is AXE? What is that acronym? So able populace. So these are the kinds of like bonuses you can add to yourself. So +25 or +25 or +25% or +50%. That's your, in GURPS speak, that's the increase in the amount of points something is going to cost. So if you have some type of populace and they're able, the realm's inhabitants are more productive than normal. Perhaps the elderly can work later in life and the young start younger. Or the young start younger. Whatever workforce points for any non-voluntary reason, you lose 1 less. For the first level, whenever you gain work points for any reason, gain an additional one immediately. At the second level, you enjoy the first level's effects, and whenever you lose workforce points for any non-voluntary reason, you lose one less. On the other hand, we have things like admired and hated, advanced or obsolete infrastructure, appearance, clear routes. The realm has exceptionally well-kept roads, easily navigable rivers, conventional, unconventional populace, defensive terrain, educated, uneducated populace, famous for some type of archetype. The realm is famous for producing heroes, villains, or everything else in between. Fertile territory. The realm possesses more arable land than normal. Habitable or inhabitable land. Heavy taxation. High or low tech level. High or low carrying capacity. Ideal climate. Loyal or disloyal citizenry. That's stepping up the loyalty parts, and how much does that cost? Similarly, these are all basically advantages, but similarly, we've got realm limitations. Broad-minded chauvinistic populace. So like this is the corruption per level. So poring over the realm limitations, example of realm creation continued. The GM selects able populace 2 plus 50%. Life is hard, and the Zoroastrians are hardy, and there's free undead labor. Defensible terrain 4 plus 40. Zarthus is a terrible place with many natural defenses. Maneuver mastery, martial manpower, plus 20% to summon undead hordes, and renewable resources 5, plus 50% for the dreaded black mines. In total, this adds 160% to the realm's value. Next, the GM looks over the realm's limitations and adds appearance ugly, negative 8%. Zarthus is really an old, ugly place to live. Chauvinistic population, OR1, negative 2%. Justifiably so, since outsiders often crusade against their necromantic practices. Famous for necromancers, negative 2 to reaction roll, negative 10%. Hated, 2, negative 10%. No one likes them much. Hostile climate, 1, negative 5%. Thanks to magical workings gone awry. Lower carrying capacity, 3, negative 15%. Sustaining a population is very difficult in this harsh land. Obsolete infrastructure, 1, negative 25%, not quite apocalyptic, but close. And uninhabitable land, 1, negative 10%. Again, this land is harsh, in total giving a negative 85% to the realm's value. In total, so all these advantages gave plus 160%, but then after you take into account all the disadvantages, we've got a negative 85% to the total realm's value. Finally, using these and the previous traits, the GM writes up the description of the land. Finalizing the realm. Adventurer, Conqueror, King system. Oh. Adventurer, Conqueror. So that sounds like you're definitely doing, yeah, well, you're talking about land management. King system going from something low level to running the realm. You know, I see it's on Drive-Thru RPG. Oh, okay. So that's so it seems like something that is definitely trying to bring back the domain level play. Your final base value, military resources. Example concluded. So the GM now has stats for Zarthus and needs to tie everything together. First comes realm value. The GM multiplies the typical monthly pay of a tech level 3 citizen, $700, by population, 192,000, and then by 0.6. This gives a base value of $80,640,000. The starting resource points cost 0.5% of base value apiece. That's 80,640,000 times 0.005 for $200,000 each. The GM specified 25 starting resource points, so that comes to $10,800,000. This is recorded separately. The realm's total enhancements were 160%, total limitations were negative 85%, total cumulative traits were plus 3%, and management level skill was 15 for plus 15%. Adding these together, so No, our total is actually plus 93. So so negative 85% was just the limitations. So adding everything together, we're at plus 93%. Applying this to the base value of the realm gives the base value of a realm 155,635,200. Starting revenue is 1% of this for $1,556,352. Next comes the monthly revenue that the citizens provide. The GM multiplies the monthly available pay to tech level 3 citizen by population, and then 0.1, and then finally 0.6. So they're getting 8 million per turn. Calculating military resources based on that as well. The GM decides to ignore starting military units for now. The Nightmare Court can raise military forces probably from the grave later. If there were such units, their cost to be recorded separately. Average status is -1 for rural citizens, but those in large settlements enjoy status 0 life. Status 7 is the maximum and is the Fell King himself. Based on its population and realm value, the Necromancer Kingdom of Narthus is the negative 30-point enemy or a 20-point patron. Well, maybe we do. So the wheel, this is actually how you play. Like that seemed like a lot. There was a lack of, I think, elegance there. I mean, there's very detailed, but on the other hand, wasn't that the word you used, Sable? This was much more detailed and not quite as elegant, I felt like, as designing your force. But again, there's more to think about, I suppose, when designing your force here. The wheel, I guess we should look at the wheel, because this is actually how you play. Chapter 1 explained how to create a realm and describes it in terms of ratings, levels, enhancements, etc. This chapter shows you how to use all of that information. It simulates interactions both between realms and within them, tackling domestic projects, dealing with famines and epidemics, and so on. The wheel is a resolution system similar to the combat system, but less granular. Conceptually, it's akin to combat light, but for realms. Similar interaction includes trade, soft power approaches, and saber rattling. Each turn, so I wonder if we get a really elegant system here once we've gone through all the trouble to set all of that up. So, and I think this is also part of it that meshes well with that boardrooms and Curia. So this is when you're taking actions. Okay, so like here are, lists of actions and what they're calling maneuvers right here that your kingdom can do on any turn. And this might be fun. Like I said, if you're trying to run some kind of kingdom in an asynchronous way, I want to evaluate it for that. So I guess we will continue a little bit with this tomorrow. But all right, there is stuff to do. I've got to get on the Kickstarter stuff. So I will be posting later. I will see you in the Discord server. Eventually, I would like to do some. I would like to get back to doing some members-only streams on maybe Wednesday nights. But I got to get this not tonight, but maybe starting soon. Maybe next week we'll be able to do that. But also remember, Friday night we're going to do dinner and a board game again. I need to get that thumbnail ready and that posted. So dinner and a board game Friday night. We will be doing Hero Quest, Frozen Horror Quest 3. So have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow. Later, everybody.